Welcome back to another episode of How to Build a Business That Doesn't Own You. On today's episode, I want to take a little bit of an aside and have a little bit of a philosophical discussion. Now, don't leave just yet. We're not going to get too philosophical here. Really, what I want to do is try and define what the goal is. Like, what are we doing this for, right? Is your goal make as much money as possible? Is your goal work as little as possible and make a good living? Is your goal somewhere in between? So I want to talk about that. At the end of this video, my hope is that everybody watching this comes away with a little bit more perspective on the things that they should be thinking about as they start out on their journey in business, specifically in owning a contracting business. So if you've watched the past couple episodes, we've touched on some of these principles really high level. If you haven't watched them, I encourage you to go back, start from the beginning, and get here. We're on episode 4 at this point. So, a good life business. What is a good life business? It's really easy to get caught up in the hype of social media, of just the grind of daily life. And if you allow yourself to get caught in that, and I'm speaking from personal experience here, is years of your life can go by and you're going to miss these really important milestones. And at the end of it, you may or may not come out of it financially any better. And I'll focus on that for a second, because the key there is financially. And this is where you, for yourself, I'm just going to adjust this mic because this is annoying me. Bear with me here, everyone. Let's just do that. You, for yourself, need to decide what your priorities are, right? So if you're young, maybe you're early 20s, mid 20s, whatever, you decide you're going out on your own. You may or may not have kids yet. You might be a little bit older. I was about 30 when I first went out on my own, 29 actually, I think, and I didn't have kids yet, but kids were in the discussion. And the moment I had my daughter, the priorities should have changed, and they didn't. And I didn't realize it until she was about 3 years old. So a good life business, the way I'm going to define a good life business, is one that makes you enough money to live the comfortable life that you want while providing you with enough freedom so that you can enjoy the life that you have. Now, this is a critical point of distinction. A good life business is not one defined by financial excess. It is one defined by time freedom. Let me tell you a quick story. When I first started, I got caught up chasing revenue, right? We kept taking jobs. Me and my business partner at the time, we took on anything that we could, and we just hired bodies to help with it. And really, this is the inspiration for this entire series, because I see a lot of contractors get caught up in that exact cycle. And the lessons I learned from it, I want to impart on everybody watching here today so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. I worked too hard because I was trying to grow sales. I was hiring the wrong people. I didn't have the systems in place. What ended up happening is I missed the first 3 years of my daughter's life. And I don't want to say completely missed, like I wasn't deployed overseas or something. I was still around, but I don't have really coherent memories of a lot of those early milestones. I didn't spend enough time with her in the first years of her life, and I will never get that back. I was chasing growth in a company, and because of all the lack of systems and controls, hiring the wrong people, it all came crashing down. I was able to catch it before it completely imploded and before bankruptcy hit, but we were a sea hair away from absolute ruin. And the only thing that I achieved, and this is not an achievement, was not seeing my daughter grow up in those first 3 years of life. So what you need to do as you're looking at this is really think through what your priorities are. Now, this isn't to say that being there for your kids needs to be the priority. I'm going to be biased. I will say that there's an absolute beauty and love in that, and like I encourage everybody to spend quality time with their children. If you are driven and you want to grow your business, fantastic. Do that. Make sure that you have set aside enough time for yourself so that you can feel good and fulfilled with your family. And then in that remaining time, when you're focused on the business, make sure you do the right things. Make sure you set up your team. Make sure you set up your systems. Make sure you chase the right leads. And we're going to talk all about that in future episodes. Today is really about defining what you want out of this. So when you grab a pen and paper, or just noodle it, whatever's easier for you. I'm somebody that typically just noodles things. I don't actually write a whole lot down. And define for yourself what that looks like. Is it a salary? Is it about a number of working hours? Do you want to work 40 hours a week? You can do that as a business owner. You don't have to work 60, 70-hour weeks. You don't even have to work 50-hour weeks. I built my businesses prior to getting into the startup world. My construction businesses, I was able to build them to a spot where I worked maybe 20 hours a week. Like really effective work. Part of that is I got so efficient and so good at my job that I was able to do everything in about 20 hours a week. And the other part was I built such a good team and I set up such good systems. I invested that time earlier on to get to that spot. And that allowed me tremendous freedom and flexibility in my life. Now I decided, hey, I'm going to go start a startup, and that whole thing has changed once again. But as a contractor, if your goal is freedom in life, I can help you get there because I've done it. And I've seen what the other side looks like with not having freedom. So really decide for yourself, what is a good life business? For me, if I'm looking at a contracting business, a good life business is one that pays me enough money to live my life. Canadian dollars, maybe that's $200,000-$300,000 a year, maybe a little bit more. I don't know where all of you live, USD, whatever that conversion is. And that allows me to work 30 hours a week. That to me is a good life business. Maybe it's different for you, but try and make that decision. We'll come back to it and we'll touch on it in future episodes because this is going to be your anchor point and it's going to help you decide the path and the effort and the focus that you put into a whole bunch of these different things going forward. If your answer is 60 hours a week and you want to make $1 million a year, hell's bells, let's go do it together. It's going to be a different path than if your answer is I want to work 20 hours a week and make $300K a year. Both are achievable, but they're going to be different paths. So think about it. I'll see you back for the next episode.